Does kind of suit with the Legion Commander as well, it seems.
Yeah, it definitely does. You have a lot of ways of closing that gap as well. Even outside of the LC, you have the Tusk you can go in with. It just plays into that aggressive playstyle quite nicely. You don't really have the best ways of dealing with it as TNC as well. You don't have anything that really pierces through that spell immunity, unless you want to swap him, but I don't see why that would be a major thing you'd want to do to a Lifestealer unless he's in a really bad spot. But that's about
TNC
it. Let's see. They
Predators.
do go with, there you go, Lifestealer. All right, so it just fits into their draft. The aggression is quite nice. You know, you have the Tusk you can ride in or just snowball in with. You have the Legion Commander you could ride into. The timing isn't too late, so you can come online quite fast and start applying that pressure early on. TNC, what do they respond with here? I mean, they've got a bit of a mishmash
10
draft.
seconds
Venge, Abaddon,
remaining.
Marana. Are they going to go for something to set up with Marana? Or are they going to be
5
going
seconds
for something
remaining.
else entirely? It is really open, and I actually can't quite see what they have in mind besides everyone being blue.
Fair enough. I mean, there is the option for the Terrorblade, which we did see up against a Lifestealer yesterday. I believe it was actually Raven playing up against TNC's Lifestealer, and the Terrorblade just ripped him apart. So they could opt for that. You've got the Troll Warlord as well, right? Like, you could use the Troll up against the Life. Does tend to work pretty darn well. TNC, fourth pick, they're going to start thinking about this quite heavily. Can't forget either, John. So far, that Broodmother is still in the pool. So Adroit have to ban that out as their last. Or otherwise, I believe TNC will probably just take it. And I mean, it is into a Legion Commander to be fair, so you have the wave clear. But I'm not sure. I mean, Armel does love playing it.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I'd say it works out equally well in a Droid's draft if it doesn't get picked up or banned
Radiant
into their
team
last. I
double.
mean, if they pick
Lead.
themselves, they have a lot of damage coming out with the Tusk. Just amplifying the spiraling damage is pretty brutal. TNC does pick up that Lena, so they have that much more control here. Good amount of control. Great burst damage coming out now. So you've got to be careful about when you choose those dual fights, where you snowball to, because the Lena can definitely work that into their
10
favor here for
seconds
TNC.
remaining.
It still is quite an open draft. Like, the one
5
good thing
seconds
is that the
remaining.
Vengeful Aura is going to have a lot of value in these heroes. So Lena's going to have a good time as well.
TNC Predators turn to
But we're not seeing
battle.
that cohesive synergy that you'd want in a team lineup just yet. They lack a little bit in the team fight department.
TNC
Whereas for
Predators
Adroit, it's just
turn to
constant
core.
running against a wall.
Ooh. Dragon Knight will pop out for TNC now. It's a very safe pick to be made by TNC, but up against the Lifestealer does work very well. Dragon Knight has massive amounts of armor. Don't mind this pickup. I mean, it seems to work well against the Lifestealer and the Legion Commander. I don't really see a way for Adroit to be able to take this
10
man down.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, he's gonna be a hard
5
one to deal with.
seconds
I guess
remaining.
Lifestealer does enjoy these beefy heroes as the game goes on, but initially it is gonna be a bit of a struggle. You don't have the best magic damage to counteract that hero just yet. It does give TNC a lot of push as well here, so they've got some good tempo going on. It still is not the most
Now
stitched up
select
together
your
draft, especially
heroes.
since Adroit, they pick up the Alchemist, so they've got some scaling into the late game. They've got a way of just accelerating in that mid game as well. If you're not going to slow down that jungle farm from Adroit, they can definitely just take over here. But if you slow down Adroit enough, then you have an Alchemist that has to share jungle farm with a Lifestealer and Legion Commander if they fall too far behind. So if TNC can find that early start, then Adroit will struggle to find that space.
Adroit, though, with this Alchemist, John, if they can find multiple trusty shovels, and they get lucky enough to continue digging up bounty runes, it could really snowball Mac out of control, which would be pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, that would just be kind of
10
sickening if
seconds
they do
remaining.
manage to get that luck. I mean, to be fair, we did just see a
5 seconds
free that
remaining.
didn't get chopped off, giving free Roshan vision for the entire game.
We
So who
did.
knows?
Well, we'll see if Adroit can get lucky with those trusty shovels, if they can find them in the first place. And if they do, of course, they've got to get to digging. TNC looking pretty solid with their draft. So does Adroit, though. It's a matter of who can get on top and get the momentum going their way first. course, you've always got the backup in Natsumi and Bok, assuming Mac doesn't have the early start he requires on the Alchemist. But TNC, with their draft, it's just so safe. It's very hard to fail with this kind of draft. There's not much coordination required. It's just chain stunning over and over again. That's really it. In fact, speaking of stunning, you've got 4 stuns available on the side of TNC. See how it all pans out.
And the biggest issue I have with TNC's draft is that the area control is really not there. Like, you are relying mainly on Lena's stun to get more than one hero down at the same time. Whereas Adroit, I mean, you could say the same thing. They are relying mainly on a snowball to catch multiple heroes out, but it feels like that just comes online much faster and it is so much more reliable that you can really build off of that sort of initiation easier.
Well, we'll get into it. Game number 1 between Adroit and TNC. Another series where both teams are kind of desperate to get some wins on the board. Gabby already starting with the tip onto Boomy. KP will indeed be on that position 3 Abaddon. And you'll see Tim's on the pos for Mirana. Of course, Armel on the Lina. It's something we don't see so often from Armel, but he does perform quite well on the Lina when he does play it. Wondering how much space they're going to be able to give to Mac on this Alchemist as well. At least at the start, they're going to commit 4 heroes down to this bot lane to try and secure both those bounties.
30 seconds to battle.
TNC though should be able to secure both top bounty runes. It's only Bok up there on the Legion Commander. They should understand this. Do they even bother fighting Adroit over these bottom bounty runes? I don't believe they will. I say that KP will run in like a man and try to steal. In fact, he does. He just swipes it away from them. And so it'll be a 3-for-1 trade. KP does fall very, very low. In fact, he may give away first blood. But no, it looks like he will get out safely.
Yeah, that's a really good start here for TNC. They do deny that 1 rune from Mac, so it's not going to be an amazing start here for our Alchemist. Just a bit of a slower start than you want. And that should be enough to give Armel a slight edge in trading. I mean, it's already going to be an easy time for Lena to apply that pressure onto a hero like Alk. Without that without that extra gold at the start, it's just going to be that much harder for Mac to really stay in the lane.
Top lane, Bok. Gonna be left alone on the Legion Commander. They're gonna give as much time to Natsumi as they can, just ensure he does secure the best farm possible. Of course, it will be important Mac does the same on the Alk, but Armel will be trying to shut him down as best as possible. Mac, once he gets that initial farm going, he can always just rotate into the jungle. And it looks like our first courier does go down. CML will find KP's courier. That'll be number 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit rough for KP. As the offlaner, he will need as much sustain as possible. He's not going to have that option to ferry out any emergency sort of salves or mangoes to keep him up here. So he's just going to have to play it safe, hug the tree line for a bit, and get some EXP.
Tim's gonna fight Boomy over this neutral camp, but Boomy will manage to swipe the small creep away. Over to that mid lane once again. Mac is doing decently considering his situation. Armel is of course ahead, but it means so much more for the Alchemist to get these last hits. And Armel, I mean, just on the laner by himself, isn't really able to shut Mac down.
Yeah, it's not the easiest, especially once you run out of that mana. So he's going to have to ferry some out over. He does have mangoes coming in. That should help the cause here.
KP still finding himself struggling a little bit on this Abaddon. He hasn't found one last hit yet. Courier. He does respawn, so he will be able to bring out some more regen very, very soon. But it looks like he just wants to bring out the Buckler recipe at this rate. But Natsumi, complete free farm on the Lifestealer, hasn't really missed the last hit yet. And I highly doubt he'll miss anytime soon. So it doesn't seem like this Abaddon's going to be able to shut down Natsumi whatsoever.
Yeah, that's going to be a point of concern for TNC. We have seen Lifestealers get that early start. They can be a menace really early on, especially with the change in favored itemization now.
March chasing Bok. He's very close to killing him off. He needs a bit more damage. The Wave of Terror could kill him off, and yeah, he does. March, with the support Venge, does find the first blood.
Radiant's top tower is under
Very nice one at that. Meanwhile, looking over to the mid lane, Tim's setting up to try and snipe a Courier, and it looks like he may just have his chance in just a moment. As this poor, unsuspecting Courier is going to run past, but Tim's will leave it be. Looks like he will try to set up at the top lane. Though March will find a Courier instead, or rather he dies to a tower. And still, Tims, are you sticking around? Just going to farm the jungle. Looks like Max farm is slowly being shut down, but KP bot lane...
No.
I mean, he gets close just to soak some XP, and he just ends up dying that quickly. Still 0 last hits on the Abaddon.
Yeah, it's rough right now for KP. I mean, he tried to go for a miscoil right at the end there. Unfortunately, you know, they took that out. You can't kill yourself anymore, which is a massive disappointment for me. But it was a bit strong, so you're not going to have that cheeky play anymore coming out for TNC.
Very upsetting indeed. Looks like Mac has started rotating into the jungle. Tims, meanwhile, finding Bok's Courier up at the top lane. Trying to set up for the kill attempt. There's the magic missile into the arrow as well. Gabby comes in on the DK, and Bok really should have nowhere to go and doesn't. As the breathe fire will take him out. So essentially both off lanes are being sacked right now anyway. Thing is though, like, at least Bok's almost level 4. Looking at KP, he's still level 2.5. Tries to get the bounty rune, isn't successful in doing so, and is still stuck at that tier 1 bot tower.
Yeah, it's a rough story here for KP. Another thing that's rough is Mac up against Armel. I mean, he's level 6 now. He could just Laguna down the Alchemist at this point.
He's trying to. He's getting Rain. Dragon Slave, it will be enough. He does barely find it, but now Boomy trying to find the trade. The shards are there. Armel trying to get out of that tier 1 range. It will not matter though. Still, I imagine if you are Armel, you will be happy with that, finding the Alchemist before you end up dying yourself.
Yeah, it's a much bigger win here for TNC. They've slowed down this Alch a fair bit. They're going to have to keep track of that jungle much more as this game goes on. But if they keep applying that pressure, you're not going to have too much space to grow as the Alch. Oh,
We're
Bok.
going on to Bok again. The arrow was used initially, so Bok is going to be okay. Looks like CML will join in up at the top lane, and Boomy will do the same. Armel now going to find a nice little arcane rune for himself. Tims. He get chased down a bit. No kill potential there for them, though. Was able to just leap away if he really needed to. Mac has just relegated himself to the jungle. He's not wasting any more time in that lane. It's a much slower process, but again, if you can get lucky and find some decent items, especially that shovel, be quite lucrative for him.
Definitely so. This is the point where TNC should be a bit more aggressive with rewards. They have one nice ward that Tim's dropped earlier. They need a bit more to maintain full control here.
Well, Boomy finds KP bot lane, but it looks like Bok is also going to be in trouble up at top. They commit the Dragon Form, Breathe Fire will be there. Magic Missile as well. Coming up from March, he's just going to chase Bok by himself and will find the kill. In fact, Gabby's the one who grabs it. Now Mac actually ends up finding Tims on the Mirana. And Armel being chased down as he did find the trade. But again, they found the Alk, and I think that's all that's going to matter to TNC. This Alk is only at 2.2k net worth right now.
Radiant's middle
Yeah,
tower
it's
is
a
under
rough
attack.
time for Mac. He's just receiving all the pressure in the world. TNC's not relenting on this lane, and he doesn't have the space to really start farming up. He has been dipping in and out of that jungle, but even that's not that safe. There's a very, very active roaming Miran in the form of Tims, and he's just been really working this map quite well.
Yeah, well, KP, bot lane, unfortunately goes down once again. That's his third death of the game. He was trying to chase down one of the couriers from the Radiant side, but doesn't get so lucky.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
With that, I mean, he's still sitting at that level 3 mark. Almost level 4 now, but we are 8 minutes in.
That was hot.
So we'll see how he does plan to try and catch up. At the very least, Armel and, of course, Gabby on the DK are at the top of the net worth board, so they're not too concerned about this offlane not working out.
Radiant's
CML
tower is under attack.
should know Tims is there and does, but Armel is right behind him, and with that, CML is going to go down. March looking for more now. Doesn't really spot out Boomy. It won't matter though, they are clearing out that T1 tower. Mac gonna come in, but he cops the magic missile, but now the rotations are there. Natsumi gonna go in as well. They'll get a shards off onto March, and March should be dead, but a nice arrow will connect onto Mac. It will not matter though. March does go down to the Alchemist. They will manage to protect that T1 tower.
That was a massive commitment for that, though. They do manage to save Mac this time around. I think
Okay,
that's
P.
even bigger.
Well, more bad news for the Abaddon, John. He goes down once again. They just rotated straight after the March kill. Straight back down, find another kill on KP. That'll make it an 8-6 now.
Yeah, it's a rough game for KP. He's 0-4. He's still at level 4 9 minutes in as the offlane. I mean, at this point, it almost feels like he should be relegated to more of like a support role. It's just, he's lost that early game timer. He's gonna have to farm a lot to really gain that back into the mid game.
March trying to go into Natsumi, but they heal him up. They purge off all the stuns, and he's going to be chased down. They will find the Venge. Now the gaze out onto Tims, but he'll leap away. Armel won't connect with the stun. Still Boomy actually running back in. He still has the snowball available. They just want that boundary rune, and they just want the outpost. Armel trying to fight them over it. He will find CML on the lich. Now going after Boomy, but what a chance coming out from Boomy. He found two of them. Armel trapped up, goes down. KP does the same, and Tims, he only had one leap charge. In fact, there's another. Looks like he will be able to outrun them. But Adroit getting the better hand, or just getting the upper hand of TNC once again. It's 11-7 now. It just seems to be no slowing down for Adroit.
Yeah, it's the response from TNC has not been impressive to say the least. In fact, they might even find Tims. What?
Yeah, they do. Chain Frost is there from CML. He just solos Tims off.
This is just in stark contrast of the performance you expect from TNC. Like, don't get me wrong, Adroit is a great team as well. But TNC, most people would put on a different level, and right now they're just not finding that space that they want.
Natsumi gonna try and go after KP. They're going into 3 heroes right now, John. They just walk in and take him out. Now March is going down. Gabby comes in. Moonlight Shadow's there. They're gonna not do anything about it. I mean, the rotations came in from TNC, but it amounts to nothing.
And while all that happens, you give Max so much space to farm up. He's working his way towards his Radiance now. The timing is not amazing, but it's still going to be there. It's almost like that laning phase just hasn't happened at all.
Bot lane, another engagement. Armel getting caught out this time around. Gabby, got to be careful as Natsumi is chasing. They'll get the stun off. Gabby will find at least a kill onto Boomy. So you have one saving grace in that DK who's continuing to find these kills. They will end up stealing the outpost.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Natsumi is fairly close behind in net worth on the lifestealer. And like you said, Mac, he's had some free time now. He's slowly but surely climbing his way back up in terms of net worth. And that whole early game advantage TNC had really won't be existent very soon.
Yeah, it's really just not what you'd expect. In fact, they might lose more.
Apparently they do. March will go down again.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Tims, he will find Natsumi's Kuri at the very least. There was just some clarities on there though. And so 16 to 8, 2k net worth lead for Adroit.
Tower is under attack.
It still seems to be an even game to say the least, just based on net worth. You've still got Gabby who's farming very, very well on the DK and could be a powerhouse later on.
Dire's bottom tower.
TNC, they've got to get some team fights going their way.
Structures are fortified.
Bok, going to chase down Tims. He has the jewel available if he wants to try for it. He does not, however. Now a smoke, Adroit. Run around. Who they're going to go for? So they may head into that mid lane where KP is. KP at the very least is level 6 but hasn't skilled up borrowed time yet. He's just holding on to that skill point. Boomy will end up finding Tims. The snowball will be there, but immediate leaps away in the Moonlight Shadow. Do they have detection? They does stop, but it's just too late. Tims does use his final leap charge to get away. Now Armel, understanding his positioning, will get the hell out of there. But look, you look at Mac, he's almost got that Radiance up now.
Radiant's bottom tower
It's not the fastest timing in the world, but it's certainly still going to be very effective in these engagements.
is under attack.
Yeah, the biggest issue is that even if Mac's timing is rough, you're having way too hard of a time here with your other cores from TNC side, that it really doesn't matter. Relatively, Mac is still doing quite well.
Middle tower is under attack.
Well, yeah, the Radiance recipe is now on the way for him, so he'll have it up in just a second.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
KP gonna make his way to the mid lane. Meanwhile, up at top lane, there is a duel going on onto Tims, but there's no follow-up damage on this Mirana. Still, she doesn't have any leap charges available. They'll take the banner in away from her, and it looks like she will just die to Natsumi on the lifestealer. In mid lane, they're trying to punish Mac, but Mac is punishing them back. KP now being chased down by this Alchemist. He won't actually use a stun quite yet, and KP just trying to get the hell out of there. But Mac's not done. Unstable concoction. KP, is he going to throw it? No, not quite. But they'll just purge off the stun anyway. And they'll go straight after that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and this is going to be a key tower for Adroit to take. Once that's cleared out, the jungle is not going to be very safe for TNC. And Adroit has the lineup to really abuse that. They've got the Tusk, they've got the Legion Commander, they've got the Lifestealer. These guys just fight early and fight fast. So without that key point of control, it's going to be much harder for TNC to escalate in their farm.
Well, Gabby at least has the Sergeant Yasha up now on the DK. TNC, when are they going to feel comfortable to try and get something done across the map? Boomy up at top lane with the Lifestealer Infest. Can he break the distance on Tims though with the snowball? I don't know if it'll be quick enough. They do, however, have Bok coming in on the Legion Commander, and that could help with the duel. And they won't chase him down. Tims, 2 leap charges available. There's the snowball. Tims, he just commits the Moonlight Shadow, but it is not going to be enough. That is a lot of damage pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, you've got to respect the power coming out here. It's a lot of damage coming out. You have to remember tag team is up as well. It's max level tag team. It just means heroes really just melt at this point.
I mean, what do you think TNC need to do here? Like, are they doing the right thing by just farming up?
It's hard to say. I'd say yes and no. They definitely need more gold up on a few of their cores. At the same time, they've got to find a way to really force these fights in. They've kind of missed the window where Alchemist is kind of weak. If they still jump him 4v, say 5v1 or 4v1, with a gank like that, they could still finish off Mac. But at this point, you've got other issues. You've got a Legion commander who's starting to escalate up a bit. You've got Natsumi on this Lifestealer who's 5-0 and just building up towards everything he wants. He's got his Desolator coming out right now, and that just means everyone is going to be dying that much faster up against this Lifestealer. So you've got issues to solve right now. I think the biggest thing for TNC was that the laning phase was way too rough. You still have KP trying to play recovery. I'm not sure if this farm investment on the Abaddon is gonna pay off, right? Like they're giving him some space in the jungle. He is a core. He does need farm, but he's so far behind. I'd say you might be better off investing that on your Mirana or something else entirely.
Well, TNC, they're feeling a little bit confident right now. They're smoked up. They just got a blink on Gabby and they got a mech on Tims now. So that could be the difference in these engagements. Still, Infest is going to be there on Boomy. Boomy should break the smoke and should spot out Gabby, although they blink. Boomy, are you really going to try and TP right now? They'll connect the arrow Natsumi. He'll pop out straight away and aim for March. Though Gabby will take down Boomy on the Tusk because it's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Tims copying a fair bit, but Natsumi does not want any more of this. It looks like they'll back off, but here comes the cavalry Mac. Who's he going to chase? Armel would be a very nice target on the laner. And it looks like that is exactly where they're all going. Still Armel just kind of kiting them around. They'll get the duel off in the end, and Armel does end up going down. Meanwhile, Natsumi chasing down KP on the Lifestealer. He does get arrowed up though from Tips from a mile away. Gabby just tips him straight away. Now they'll chase for more. They think they can punish here, but Tims is falling low on the Mirana. They'll leave him be and go for Gabby instead. An unstable concoction will be popped out. Gaze as well. They want KP, but there's the borrowed time coming out. Now the stun from Gabby onto the Lich, but the swap is there. CML. He will end up dropping. Now Gabby going for even more onto Boomy, but he doesn't have the damage output. Dragon Form has worn off, and it looks like TNC need to get the hell out immediately, though Tims, he's melting to that Radiance, but it's not quick enough. Meanwhile, Gabby finds Boomy on the Tusk. And so TNC do win that team fight. It was a 2-for-3 trade with a dieback on the Tusk. In fact, they're not even done. Gabby, he just steals the outpost straight after they take it. Or is trying to anyway, before that 20-minute mark, and they do grab it.
Whew, that was a really good fight for TNC, but a really messy one for Adroit. TNC, they walked away with 2.5k gold going their way, pretty much negating Adroit's advantage there. Less than 1k left for Adroit, 20-12 at 20 minutes in. I mean, there were some key moments there for Adroit that they should have felt happy with, but they kept pushing the envelope, and in the end, it really doesn't pay off as they lose a bit more than they expect, although now, if they do force a fight again, Mac has a heart up and running, so he has a heart and Radiance up. So that's going to be a much tougher Alchemist to kill. The point still stands, though. Like, that was a fight that did bring TNC back in the game. They've got a lot more to go with. They've got a good amount of EXP and gold here. And that does give them a lot more to try to take these fights with.
Looks like we might see a smoke again coming out from Adroit. In fact, we will. Another infest on Boomy. Where are you going, though? You go down to the bot lane, hoping someone's trying to push out the wave, but nobody's there from TNC. They are up towards the mid, and we do have a pause coming out from Mac, who appears to have disconnected. But while he was farming up at the top lane, he does have the full Shadow Blade up now as well, so you've got some decent initiation, and once he's got that Silver Edge, suddenly all that armor on the DK isn't going to be as much of a factor.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a scary moment once that item's up. Of course, even then, I don't think it's actually going to be... It's not really a massive issue since Natsumi already has that Desolator, so they already had ways to deal with that DK. The only thing is they really needed to try to pin him down. Their focus was kind of scattered. But, as you mentioned, just having that Silver Edge up and running in Mac just means that he really will be pretty much a non-factor as long as that break is enabled. And once that is up and running, it's just going to make it much harder for TNC to try to take it.
TNC, Moonlight Shadow popped, and there's Gabby. He jumps straight in after CML. They'll purge off the stun, and now try to turn around onto the DK. In fact, the duel is there in time, but do they have the damage output? It is going to be there in the end. They won't get the victory, but it doesn't matter. They found the hero, and they'll go after KP now on the Abaddon. And poor KP has had a tough game. He's going to be slowed down by that Frost Shield, and Natsumi will use the open wounds. Borrowed time, at the very least, he is wasting time from the side of Adroit, but it isn't going to matter because he is going to die. Gabby, I mean, it was a good initiation, but just the counter initiation from Adroit was way too quick.
Yeah, it's all on Boomy just immediately snowballing when he saw that jump in. That did really just take out all the wind from TNC's sails, and that is going to cost them the Roche Pit as well, although they are TPing in to try to contest.
Certainly are. Tims, we'll throw an arrow out and we'll get vision. March. They know how low the Roshan is, but look at Mac. He runs straight out of the pit looking for a target. He knows March is there and gets the stun off, takes a courier down as well. The Roshan is still so darn low, but they want the Venge kill first and they will be able to grab it now. Tims, again, scouting out the Roshan, but I don't think they can go for this any longer. The Aegis will be given to the way of Adroit, and it looks like Natsumi will be the one to pick it up.
Yeah, it's a big win for Adroit. They find one nice kill. They get the Aegis as well, and that does give them a lot more leeway in these fights. Still fairly even in terms of map control. I'd say you might even give TNC a slight edge since they do have that tier 1 down bot. But it's not a major factor anymore. The key thing is reaching those outposts. They have traded hands a fair bit, and Adroit does secure that top outpost for themselves now. They should be able to get some space going for themselves. Now, they are slowly working up towards that AC on Natsumi, and once that's up, he's going to be much harder to deal with. You are really going to be entirely dependent on magic damage to basically burn this Lifestealer down at that point. And even with that, you're really just riding off the back of your Lina in that case.
Now you've got the Silver Edge there on the Arc as well, so Gabby really not going to be as tanky as you would hope. Look at Armel's farm on the Lina and just doesn't seem impressive whatsoever. He just isn't able to get much done in these engagements. We see another smoke coming out from Adroit. There's Boomy off to it. Up to the top lane, it seems. TNC are aware of this though, and they will use the Moonlight Shadow. Like they're heading down to the bot lane where Bok does steal the outpost, and now Dust is there from Boomy. Well, the Mirana Tims pretty darn low. Natsumi, can he burst him down? Not quite. Armel gazes there from CML, but he can't get there to get the bounty rune. Instead though, Mac will come in. Armel will miss the stun on the Alk. With the Chain Frost, it will slow him down, and Armel is gone. Meanwhile, bot lane KP is being chased down by Boomy and Natsumi. Tims is there to try and help out, but I don't think there's any saving KP in this situation. He tries to body block them up, but there's the Walrus Punch coming in. Still another Aphotic Shield. But KP gets slowed down and gets taken out. Meanwhile, mid as well, there's more action going on as CML's being chased down, but Gabby apparently cannot get a hit uphill. With that, he finally gets up there, does find the damage. And so they'll find a Lich for their problem. In fact, they get an arrow off onto the Legion Commander as well. So Bok gonna end up losing his life. It's a bit of an unfortunate situation for the Legion, just running into the arrow.
Yeah, not the best circumstance. You did see that Tims managed to get an item from that as well from clearing that camp. So he's got Helm of the Undying now, which means he has a bit more utility even after that killing blow. Should be able to get some work done for his allies in that case. At the very least, maybe launch another Store Storm before being down, or if the timing's right, another Sacred Arrow just for that added control. So that is going to help the cause here for TNC. Still looking a bit rough. 25-14. 3k lead still for Adroit, excuse me. Which isn't that massive considering that there is an out. You want that gap to be higher. But it's still looking okay here.
Armel just bursts down and gets rid of the Aegis on Natsumi. That was pretty easy. Can they find Mac on the Elk? He's just way much tankier. The Infest will be there on Mac, and Mac will just get to work on that tier 2 tower. This Alchemist is currently sitting at 5k HP almost.
Yeah, I think that's an early heart for you.
Natsumi investing though does certainly help. It looks like they will back off after that mid tier 2. Where are they headed now? Mac trying to go after Tim's up at the top lane, though Tim's will try and fight back a bit. In fact, Mac doesn't even care about the Mirana, he just wants the farm. TNC still holding on. I mean, there's a 4k net worth lead for the side of Adroit, but it's been that way for quite a while now.
Yeah, that's really down to the fact that Adroit is playing with an Alch. So that does look like a big lead. You have to remember, most of that is riding on the Alchemist. And Mac, he's been playing quite well. You really expect a bit of a bigger lead from an Alchemist at this point in 28 minutes, and you'd want that to be a higher figure. He's been kind of forced to walk around and try to join these fights, though, so his farm hasn't been as high as it could be. It definitely needs to still keep escalating, though. Natsumi is still trying to build up as well. Looks like he should... Yeah, there you go. The AC is up on Natsumi, so that does help cause quite a fair bit. Gonna boost up everyone's tankiness there and really make it easier to deal with TNC's heroes.
Well, we'll see a smoke coming out from Adroit. There is an Aghanim Scepter and a BKB up now for the side of TNC. So Armel with the BKB, and you do see the Ags onto KP. You do have that miscoil, those miscoils coming out throughout the borrowed time. Boomy gonna break the smoke, jump straight in onto KP. They're at that outpost though. Natsumi, who is he going for? He's just chasing down March, but they've already found one in the Tusk. An immediate buyback coming out from Boomy. No one else from Adroit has really died yet. In fact, March is somehow still alive on the bench. And Mac, he's actually falling very, very low right now. He's gone.
Oh, man.
So out of nowhere, they just melt him, and now... Oh no.
Oh, man. Oh, no. No. Oh, that didn't happen.
No, nobody saw that. Nobody saw it, March. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you could see it, dude. You could see what he was trying to do. You know his mouse was over one hero, and it hit the other one. You know it. You know you'd be pissed at that. Oh, man.
It's all Gabby's fault.
Still though, TNC setting themselves up quite nicely here. Drop that network lead from Adroit to less than 1k, which again is not substantial considering that they're playing against an Alch. Adroit has an Alch, they've only got a 1k network lead. It's rough, right? You want that to be higher. TNC now is at the point where their other cores are really farmed up. They're ahead of Natsumi, especially with, Gabby's DK has been on point. He's got his own AC, so the minus armor from Natsumi isn't as potent anymore. It's not as massive as you'd expect, and they are managing to find ways to control up Mac, who has most of the gold for Adroit, so his impact has been held back. He hasn't gone for any defensive items on this Alch as well. No BKB up. That just makes it much harder to stand in the middle of these teamfights and basically get the job done. He's going to need to invest in something defensive like that fairly soon. Otherwise, we're just going to see him get bursted down really fast, as we have before.
Do you see Gabby going for an Ags on the DK? Because that Black Dragon does seem pretty darn amazing. Especially considering he is going to need some massive damage output going into the late game.
I think you could go for it. You would have to maybe synthesize it, though. Definitely not going to be slotting it up, which means that is going to be for the later point of the game. Maybe once he's 6 slotted up, and he's going to be comfy with that, that's when you probably pop the Aghanims in. Otherwise, I don't think it's really pertinent at this point. They're doing quite fine without it. He is going for an MKB next, which I think is a really safe choice, especially since you are playing against that blind chance on the Alchemist. So having that is just going to make his DPS much more consistent, and it's a safer bet overall. The Ags Again, probably going to come out later if it does come out, but I don't think we're going to see it in the next few minutes.
Roshan will be scouted out by TNC. Chance will give vision as well. The Alpha Wolf copying it, does get bashed and looks like it may lose its life though. No, it will survive just barely. A smoke will be there from TNC though.
Dire are scanning.
They'll take the outpost, TNC. Both outposts in their favor once again. Gabby, there will be a swap, and they do find the Tusk now. Just burst down Boomy, get rid of that annoying snowball, but he does get the snowball off. March will cop it, and Boomy is just making a complete run for it. They will swap him back and do take him out. Now have they found anybody else? They got the Alchemist in the stun. Arrow to follow as well, but they'll just purge all that off. Another stun from the Venge now, but he's still so darn tanky. Legion just Natsumi jumps in, but really does nothing in there. They will lose another in the form of the Legion Commander, and now CML goes down. And suddenly TNC look to be on top of this game.
Yeah, it's just down to the fact that Adroit, they had a pretty massive lead. They threw that away with that one top fight, and then suddenly you're stuck at fairly even net worth, but you've got the Alchemist soaking up all the farm on your side for Adroit. And you know, it's not down to Mac. Mac has been playing pretty well. I think his itemization definitely has hurt Adroit's teamfight. I think not having that early BKB has mitigated his impact in these fights. At the same time, TNC's just managed to close out that net worth disadvantage quite well. They've got the 4K lead now, 25-19 at 33 minutes in, which means your Alchemist is just not giving you much of a gold... He's not giving you any sort of gold advantage anymore. So you've got all that gold riding on one hero that isn't even significantly more farmed than any hero on TNC's side, which just means TNC, they've got the fire back in the tank. They've got a lot of fuel to burn now, and they have shrunk the map down. Adroit, they've got to find a way back in here. We haven't seen that aggression we wanted to see for a while. I mean, we're really aggressive in the early to mid. They've got to try to find these jumps with Bach much more often.
TNC just maintaining control of that Radiant side jungle. Looking for another opening. They just hold on to that high ground, though. Looks like Tim's will TP down and ensure the outpost is not stolen prior to that 35-minute mark. So again, Adroit going to be denied a lot of XP. TNC will take all of it. You are getting to that point now where a lot of heroes are going to start getting close to that the 30 level mark. CR Mel at level 24. Of course, you've got Gabby at level 25 now. Mac has fallen behind a little bit in XP, level 23 on the Alchemist. That level 30 mark, John, you get all your talents up. It does become a little bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah. It's going to be really big on... I want to say Gabby probably has the best from both trees. Just all that utility and all that durability coming out with that is going to be massive. Especially his level 20. Having both the 20% cooldown reduction and the strength is just kind of wild. So he's going to have much better uptime on the dragon form, which allows him to just push a bit safer and take these fights much safer, which is going to be a big boon here for TNC if it does go that late.
Butterfly now up on Mac. He does still have buyback gold for himself. We'll take down the tier 3 tower. Gabby just going to go straight after the Raxus now and can hit him from a mile away. Here comes Natsumi, but look at Gabby, he's copying literally no damage. Just out healing it all. Now they get the swap up onto Mac. The stun is there as well. He needs some help. The infest from the Life Stealer will be there onto Mac. Still though, it looks like they may lose Boomy on the Tusk, and they will. CML as well falling quite low and does go down. They'll try to chase March, but he gets out of there safely. Now Mac, he's down to less than half HP and he is going to go down. The buybacks do come out, but Gabby just takes no damage.
has fallen.
I mean, that was the biggest part in that fight was the moment Mac got his butterfly, Gabby had his MKB on board as well. So that item advantage just wasn't there. Literally the same moment when that item came in, Gabby had his MKB.
Radiant's top
So that counterfight just did not work the way that Adroit wanted it to because they thought they had an item advantage. It turns out they didn't because of Gabby's timing, and that cost them one set of racks, a hell lot of buybacks. It's going to make the next set of pushes really hard to contest from Adroit, but they've got to find a way to hold out. They need to get the fights that they want. The issue is they don't have any separate initiation tool from Bach. They haven't been able to isolate one hero and really bully it with their roaming burst potential with a Lifestealer, a Legion Commander, and a Tusk. They really made great use of that in the first 15 minutes, and then it just really tapered off. They haven't built up the damage you'd expect from Bach. He had a great start. He only has 18 dual damage. Like, that's not what you want to be seeing from a Legion Commander at 38 minutes in.
Now they'll get started on that bot Rax. Again, Natsumi tries to go into Gabby. Gabby just stands there and takes it like a man. Arrow will connect on Natsumi in the backlines. It's a 5-second arrow, but there will be no follow-up to it. Still, though, they just found the Rax and they'll back off. No need to overextend if you are TNC. Gabby, though, will come back in. He's still got time on the Dragon form. Moonlight Shadow will be popped Natsumi. He's going to walk in again.
man.
And Gabby just stands there once again. Doesn't care.
Radiant's bottom
Just no damage. The damage isn't there. Natsumi can go up and right-click Gabby, and Gabby doesn't even right-click back. And Gabby just doesn't care. He's not losing any HP.
He really isn't. He'll have a moonshot up pretty soon as well. And at this rate, Adroit's just going to lose their final set of racks just because they can't kill anything.
Radiant's middle
So they will find a double damage now. Gabby will take the bottle from Armel and bottle that up. Outposts, at the very least, are being taken from Adroit, so they want a bit of XP for themselves. They understand they are starting to fall behind. Like, you have a look at those hero levels. You've got a level 26 DK and a level 25 Lena. And after that, it's Mac on level 23. In fact, somehow KP's gotten to level 22. Considering the start he had, that should not be happening.
Oh yeah. And you've got the Ags up now on Gabby as well. So it's sitting in his backpack. But he's got that option available. It's going to make that push the fights much harder to take for Adroit. And it's just worrying here.
Very, very scary indeed. And there he pops the Ags in now. So now with that additional magic resist that he has, kind of like, what are you going to do about it? Pops the DD. Moonlight Shadow will be there. They would have seen Natsumi in the mid lane, but he will get out of there safely. TNC just going to take their time with this. I mean, I think they're waiting for the next Roshan. That's fair enough. Like, maybe not. Gabby, going to go ahead and clear out that mid wave. He popped the Dragon form. I think he just may. The rest of his team are coming to back him up. He's got the Alpha Wolf there as well. There it is. There's the Black Dragon coming out. Gabby
Oh man.
has free pathing now, John. He doesn't care about cliffs anymore. And that tower is melting thanks to him and Armel. And it's...
God.
What do you do about this? How do you kill the Black Dragon? Natsumi, he's going to walk in. Gabby is ignoring him completely. No respect being given to the Lifestealer. And now they found Boomy on the task. He will snowball. They try again. They break the dragon, but nothing happens.
Oh man.
Snowball, Gabby. He's just going to keep right-clicking away. Again, just a ignoring the heroes, John. He takes down
There's
the
no
rats.
damage.
There's no damage at all. He's just surviving everything they throw at him. Now he'll take down the life stealer. And well, if you can't kill the heroes, you can't win the game. Mac gets stunned up. Double
Oh,
LSA
man.
as well, and it's just over.
Oh.
Yeah, I would call GG as well.
Look, it was a good start for Adroit. They had a really excellent start. It looked like they shut down TNC from the laning phase. I mean, KP was stuck at level 4 at like 10 minutes in. That was just rough. But they somehow managed to turn it around. I think it was that one fight up top where Adroit overextend. They lose 4 heroes for no good reason. And from there, TNC just found a way back in. They're a team that can really capitalize on one mistake and bounce back in. So Adroit, you don't want to give them that chance. It was a good showing, but TNC, they managed to get that win. Adroit, they're going to want to close this out with a tie in the next game.
Certainly so. Of course, we will have a game number 2 very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. It is MLP Dota and Adroit X Fire. We'll see you guys very, very soon for that secondary game. Won't be too long.